I'm Jimmy Lewis with Dirt Bike Test, and today we're going to talk about this AJP PR7. This is our riding impression. We've been riding this bike for a little bit, and I wouldn't be honest if I didn't start talking about this. That's a 2002 or 4 XR650, so 25-year-old bike. And when we look at the AJP right here, I can't help but think that 20 years ago, I decided to make this. So XR650 sold as a competition bike, really a Baja bred bike. It was meant to replace the XR600. When I got mine, I needed more fuel range, big tank, big Portuguese tank. I put an instrument on it, strangely enough. It had stock, a big cushy seat, but what it lacked was electric starting. I added that as well. So, and a rack, of course. So it's a sort of a dual sport, lightweight adventure bike type of thing. Enter 2024. And AJP, a Portuguese brand, imported into the United States here, has the PR7. And it has some very familiar stuff. This engine is the SMW engine. It's the old Husqvarna engine, the Italian designed version of that engine, and a strong running 650cc engine for sure. Big cushy seat, of course, electric start. It comes with instruments, and it has a modern rally styling. So something that one doesn't really have. So everybody's asking, what do we think? I'll tell you a couple things. It's surprising. I was actually really surprised. It's kind of the same thing that happened when I rode the Cove. Didn't expect much, but then it looks, I thought it was going to look a lot better than it was. And same thing when we hopped on this bike, everybody that hopped on this bike was like, wow. So I'll tell you wow, because it works really well. It's got a big chunky 4-stroke luggable power band, kind of like that. It has really good, plush, comfortable suspension, kind of like that. And it's a little bit heavy, kind of like that, but maybe a little bit more. It's a very interesting bike. So it has a composite frame tied into probably a chromoly frame. They're actually bolted together up here and back down here. It has the low pipe for the rally styling and just to have some more clearance inside here. The gas tank is underneath the seat, 4.5 gallons. So there's a tube that runs down in here. Again, big cushy seat, fairing. Actually, the lights work pretty decent, and some good quality looking anodized parts. It has the sack suspension. We're familiar with that from the betas, and good overall componentry. This bike is sold as a competition bike, so it's got a good flowing exhaust, not too noisy, but it is a little bit loud. And everybody's going, how does it work? How does it work? How does it work? I'll get to that. The scale, don't look at the scale. So it's empty, and we usually weigh bikes full, but empty, it's 350 pounds. And that's compared to about 325 pounds for that bike. So it is a heavy bike, but it doesn't feel, it feels that way when you're pushing it around or if you have to lift it up. But when you're riding, it's a lot more stable and it's a lot more planted than you would think. It doesn't handle, especially through the handlebars, it doesn't handle like such a heavy bike. It's actually pretty agile, but it has a lot of stability at the same time. Just don't look at the scale. The only other things kind of to complain about, and it's a little awkward, is this distance between the shifter and the foot peg is kind of weird. The gear throw is a little bit long. On the other side, the brake pedal, it can flex a little bit and bump, onto the muffler. But other than that, the other thing I'll complain about is you can't see the fuel level. You have to trust the gauges. And our gauges, this is basically a Android tablet that has some pretty cool apps in it that runs, for specific to the bike. It'll show you your speed and odometer. It has actually some rally functions. It has a map book reader inside of here, which is kind of cool. And this instrument down here, this little one, is your odometer, shows voltage, kilometers, different things. Like right now it's showing us that the tank is empty, and that was good and accurate. We got about 175 kilometers, so about a little over 100 miles on the 4 gallons of fuel, if you were wondering about range. And the power, again, like I said, big, those are our complaints. Power, big, chunky, torquey, you know, and it'll rev. That's not where it goes. You just want to click the gears. The transmission is a wide ratio 6-speed. It's matched perfectly to the power. The bike will go, I don't know if we've done a top speed run on it, but we will. I'm going to say it's going to go 100 miles an hour. And maybe, you know, the shifting, it's not super tight and perfect. The clutch engagement isn't as, you know, as some of the competition bikes we're familiar with, but for like adventure riding and dual sport and cruise around, it's fine. It does its job. It's not going to let you down. It's comfortable. Like everything about this bike is comfortable, especially the seat. If you like to sit down, I don't know if they make a bike that's better than this one. The suspension, like I said, plush. It really does move and work through the stroke. It has bottoming resistance, probably better than most, we'll call it adventure style bikes. But yeah, this is a pretty impressive bike. Like I said, everybody that's ridden it was frankly quite surprised, and looking at it, you know, it looks good. It has the right kind of styling, and it reminds us a lot of this. And this bike, by the way, is for sale if you want to pick up one of these chariots. So AJP, we'll be riding you a lot more lately. We'll see you out in the trail. Cheers.